He pops a piece of gum into his mouth, chews it a few times, then sticks it firmly onto the tip of a measuring stick. He slides the stick down into the sewage bucket. The moment the phone screen lights up, a spark of hope surges through him. He frantically tries to unlock it, but he can only use one hand. The stick keeps wobbling back and forth, making it impossible to aim precisely. After several failed attempts, the phone locks him out for 1 minute. The man is on the verge of despair. His other arm has been impaled by a steel rebar. If he doesn't deal with it soon, he'll bleed out and die. But what's even worse, in less than an hour, this entire place is scheduled for demolition by controlled explosion. As the chief architect of the whole project, he knows full well that once those charges go off, he and this toilet will be blown to nothing. So the second that minute is up, he jumps right back at it. But the more he rushes, the more mistakes he makes. The gum pops right off and sticks to the phone screen. He curses under his breath and forces himself to calm down. He's only got one piece of gum left. If he blows this, it's game over. This time, he's extra careful. And thankfully, nothing goes wrong. The phone unlocks successfully. The man is absolutely ecstatic. He immediately tries to call his wife, but his hand slips and the call goes to his brother instead. Not the worst thing, though. His brother happens to be just outside, hosting a press conference, so he could get here faster. The moment the call connects, the man blurts out his location and his situation, begging his brother to come save him. But his brother's first response is to ask if he's called the police. When he hears the answer is no, he says he'll be right there. Before long, the man hears his brother's car pulling up. He screams for help at the top of his lungs, pounding on the walls, doing everything he can to get his brother's attention. But what he never could have expected, his brother doesn't come to rescue him. Instead, he drapes a plastic tarp over the entire toilet, completely blocking any view from the outside. The man can't understand why his brother would do this. Sheer panic takes over. After a moment, he forces himself to stay calm. If his brother won't help, then he'll call the police. He dials emergency services right away, but the second the call connects, before he can even get a word out, the signal drops. He jabs at the phone desperately, over and over, but in his frenzy, he accidentally knocks it over. Now the man is truly in despair. Faced with this impossible situation, he has no idea what to do. He glances at the countdown, less than 30 minutes until detonation. He decides to give up. Stop fighting. He takes off his watch, hangs it on the wall beside him, and resigns himself to quietly waiting for the end. But right then, he spots a toolbox wedged next to the toilet bowl. He vaguely remembers there being a knife inside. So he grits his teeth, endures the searing pain, and begins to slowly, agonizingly slowly, twist his body. The pain is so excruciating it nearly knocks him unconscious. Only the sheer will to survive keeps him going. He stretches his foot down beneath the toilet bowl, then summons every ounce of strength and lets out a guttural roar. Sometime later, the man gradually regains consciousness. Blood is gushing from his arm. He quickly rips off his tie and wraps it tight around the wound, temporarily stopping the bleeding. Then he pries open the toolbox, digs out the knife, and starts sawing at the door lock. After a few strokes back and forth, he's thrilled to see he's managed to cut a shallow groove into the metal. His spirits soar. He picks up the pace, and iron shavings fly through the air like snowflakes. With a satisfying click, the lock snaps apart. He kicks the door open with his foot, nudges the green tarp aside bit by bit, then jams the measuring stick into the gap to hold the door in place. Next, he takes off his pants, wraps them around a hammer, and lights them on fire with a lighter, a makeshift torch. He hurls it through the gap in the door, hoping the thick smoke will alert the crowd at the press conference. But reality hits him hard. The torch lands too close to the toilet. Instead of drawing people over, the acrid smoke drifts right back inside through the door gap. At this rate, he'll choke to death before anyone even notices something's wrong. With no other choice, the man scoops up sewage water with his hard hat and puts out the flames with his own hands, extinguishing his last hope. Now there are less than 10 minutes until detonation. He needs to think of another way out fast. That's when he notices something outside. He peers through a hole in the wall and spots a rabbit. And the detonator is sitting just a short distance in front of it. A bold idea takes shape. He pulls a carrot from the toolbox and tosses it near the detonator, trying to lure the rabbit over to chew through the trigger wire. It's so close to working, but he gets too eager and scares the rabbit away. He doesn't give up, though. After carefully studying the terrain outside, he quickly comes up with a new plan. He cracks open the lighter, pours every last drop of butane onto a roll of toilet paper, and tosses it out through the door gap. The roll tumbles along the slope exactly as he'd hoped, coming to rest right next to the detonator. The man is thrilled. He immediately lights the other end of the toilet paper trail. As the flame races forward, his heart pounds in his throat. It's almost there, almost at the detonator, when fate plays another cruel trick on him. The searing pain from his wound forces him to snap back to reality. He looks at the smiley face sticker that landed near the detonator and gets another idea. He starts throwing everything he can get his hands on at the detonator, trying to smash the trigger button. But since he can't pinpoint exactly where it is, attempt after attempt fails. He even accidentally knocks the measuring stick, his only prop, flying out the door. 2 minutes left. In sheer desperation, with no time to think, he fights through the unbearable agony of rebar grinding against raw flesh and kicks the water pipe in front of him with everything he's got. It snaps clean off. He uses the broken pipe to prop the door open as wide as it'll go. Then the man hurls his one remaining shoe at the detonator. This is his absolute last shot. If this doesn't work, all he can do is sit and wait to die. And by some miracle, luck is finally on his side. The shoe nails the button dead on. Sparks fly everywhere. The man erupts with joy, celebrating before he can even catch his breath. But then, alarm sirens suddenly blare from all directions. He looks outside and sees the detonator flashing red. He whips around to check the countdown. Just over 20 seconds left. He can't afford to gamble on whether the detonator is actually damaged. So he steels himself, grabs the knife, and prepares to cut off his own arm. Just as he's about to do it, he hears his brother's voice from outside. The man lets out a long, shuddering breath of relief. Thank God, he's going to make it. A short while later, the demolition expert comes to check on the situation. The man immediately screams for help. The expert is stunned by what he sees and quickly fires off a signal flare to call for rescue. But just when the man thinks he's finally about to be saved, his brother appears behind the demolition expert and slams a shovel into the back of his head. That sight triggers a flood of lost memories. It all comes rushing back. The person responsible for everything he's been through is the very brother he trusted with his life. Before the man can even process the shock, he watches his brother use an encrypted keycard to reactivate the detonator. The man is terrified. He begs, pleads pathetically, for his brother not to do this. But his brother doesn't even look back. He just walks away, ignoring every desperate cry behind him. Then the badly wounded demolition expert crawls up onto the toilet. He tells the man not to worry. After a restart, the detonator needs time to recharge before it can trigger. He can use that window to try and disarm the bomb. But barely a second after the expert finishes speaking, the brother's voice rings out again. He tells the reporters that while the main demolition will be slightly delayed, they can set off a smaller charge in the meantime. The man frantically reaches out to the demolition expert, trying to pull him inside the toilet for cover. But he's a split second too late. The toilet shields the man just enough, he survives by the skin of his teeth. But the demolition expert is blown to pieces. Even worse, the blast sends rubble crashing down around the toilet, sealing it shut completely. Any chance of escape is gone. Just as despair closes in, he spots the earphone wire dangling nearby. He gives it a tentative tug and pulls the phone right out of the sewage bucket. He tries calling the police again, only to discover in utter devastation that there's still no signal. Now the man has truly hit rock bottom. He struggles upright, ready to write his final words, a goodbye to his wife. But that's when he notices something. The steel rebar that ran through the entire toilet and through his arm, it snapped in two during the explosion. Hope reignites in an instant. He squeezes out the liquid soap from the toilet dispenser, spreads it evenly along the rebar, then bites down hard on the measuring stick that got blasted back inside. Clenching his jaw against the blinding pain, he wrenches his arm free from the rebar, inch by agonizing inch. The massive blood loss nearly makes him pass out. But there's no time to tend to the wound. From his brother's voice outside, he can tell the main detonation is just 2 minutes away. That's when he notices a slip of paper clutched in the demolition expert's severed hand. He grabs it and unfolds it. It's the wiring diagram for the entire demolition. After careful calculation and comparison, he realizes the main wire runs directly beneath the toilet he's trapped in. He immediately starts hammering downward, digging through the floor. And sure enough, he finds it. No time to think. He grabs the wire, shoves it into his mouth, squeezes his eyes shut, and bites down as hard as he can. It's an all-or-nothing gamble. And by some miracle, he wins. On the other side, his brother realizes the bombs didn't go off on schedule. He tells the reporters it's probably because the signal jammer is still on. Once he turns it off, everything should work fine. The man hears this, pulls out his phone, and the moment he sees the signal bars come back, he dials the police. He gives them his exact location and every last detail of his brother's crimes. Before long, the rumble of an excavator fills the air. All they need to do is clear the rubble, and he's free. Suddenly, a chunk of rock grazes past his ear, and the excavator goes quiet. He cautiously reaches out and pushes the door open. Sunlight pours over him, warm, brilliant, glorious. After everything he's been through, he's finally saved. And that's where our story ends today. Thanks for watching.